Hey guys, it's TF Knight. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This time it's going to be of the brand new Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts Power from Chainsaw Man. Very excited to finally have this figure here. Been very much anticipating it. I really loved the Chainsaw Man from Tamashii Nations that came out a couple months ago. I don't have pre-orders for the Figma ones anymore. Not that those look bad, I'd rather have one over the other at this point. I think I'm going to stick with SH Figuarts, but I could be wrong, and those could turn out really good. But right now, we have this brand new power here. Got mine from Amiami. Super excited once again. Looks like some similarities, in terms of the amount of accessories between this and the Figma one, just slightly different in the approach. Anyway, let's take a look at the packaging here. You see the figure in the box, some of the contents you see there. It says Bandai Namco and the smaller Tamashii Nations quality sticker right there. Really cool image of Power right there on the side. It does say SH Figuarts. It does also say Made in Vietnam. That's a bit of a worrisome sign for some people lately. Anyway, it does have the Tamashii Nations and Bandai logos there. I'm really digging the colors on here too. It seems like this is a bit of a wider box than usual. Definitely, I think, more wide than the Chainsaw Man figure. I think probably because of the accessories that this figure comes with. But on the top there, it does say SH Figuarts, as you see there. On the side, it does say Power. And then just some like teal and like pinkish blots right there. Then you have a full body image of Power right there on the side with SH Figuarts. Again, it says Power. Really digging that. On top, it just says SH Figuarts and Power. On the bottom here, you do see an image of the figure right there with some of the support number and website stuff going on as well. Now, on the back here, lots of images, promotional images that we saw leading up to this release here with those pre-orders. All really nice looking images, just shows you everything that this figure is going to come with. And then down here, it does have ages 15 and up, the MAPPA logo, as well as a barcode in case you need it. Let's go ahead and get this figure, get this figure out of the packaging. Here's the figure out of the packaging, and overall, I really like this figure a lot. I think Tamashii Nations did another great job here. I do think that even though it's not Tamashii Nations' fault, there's some design choices here I'm not in love with, and then a couple minor issues with my particular figure. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Since this figure doesn't come with an instruction manual, and it has those parts of the instruction manual printed on the box, I'm just going to show you what the PDF looks like when you get it from Tamashii Nations' website. Showing you what it looks like on the box is going to be too much of a hassle. At this point, I've done that many times in the past with some of these reviews lately. Anyway, every hand that we get here, every set of hands, I should say, is ambidextrous, which is cool. It looks like this looks like a slightly looser grip than this here. Maybe it's because I was messing around with the large hammer earlier. But we do have gripping hands with long, they're not too long, but you have the fingernails in there. These hands are rather glossy in some areas, but it's mostly molded in this skin tone. And this is what all the sets of hands are going to look like. They're going to be pretty similar. I think there might be slight shading in between the fingers, but I could be wrong, and that could just be the light playing tricks on me. Then we have these more expressive hands where she does a few different poses with her fingers like this, where her middle and ring fingers are connected, and the rest is all sprawled out there. You get a little bit of an idea of what her palms look like as well. Then we get to the more relaxed hands where the index finger is slightly removed from the rest of the hand, I guess I should say. Again, you get an idea of what the creases in the fingers and the palms look like. And that's what the back of the hands look like right there. I think I showed, yeah, I think I already showed the back of the hands on the, again, I think there might be some slight, shade, just very slight shading in between, when the fingers are connected. Then we have peace sign hands. She is known for doing peace signs in different covers and different art. I don't know if she actually does in the show. I'm sure she does. But the thumb placement, very interesting there. I think that's accurate. It doesn't really matter to me, but that was very interesting. Very cool, though, digging those. Last but not least, we have some clawing hands, because she also does clawing poses. I think the first time we see her, she does a clawing pose, which is really fun. And I feel like her fingernails should be a little bit longer, but I mean, it is pretty small parts of her body, so I'm fine with how they look here. Now for the faces, I can't exactly recall every single face that the Figma one comes with. What we have here, I think we have like 1 or 2 extra face plates here, excuse me. But also, they're just way more expressive here than what we get with what I think with the Good Smile one. Starting off with this smiling, open mouth, crazy face. All the, pretty much almost every face, I believe you'll be able to see like the fangs right there prominently. Very cool. I love what the printing is going on with the eyes. I love that. That was very accurate to how her eyes look. They look great. The slightly bent eyebrows, some of the eyelashes too, the separation of the different colors of the mouth there, and some of the sculpting in the ears. All that is fantastic. And then we have this more, I don't know. Forgive me for being weird, but this is kind of like she's constipated. But this looks more of like a disapproving face or slight nervous face too. With a little bit of a bit lip right there. A little bit of paint crease right there, which it should be there. And then we have some sweat glands going on, or just some strands of sweat, I should say. That's why I think she's nervous, because of the sweat. All that looks really good as well. And this is definitely a obviously nervous face too. We have different types of sweat beads on different parts of her face. Again, the eyes and eyebrows and the eyelashes look great. You can see a little bit of her fangs there. Her mouth isn't as open as this here, so you don't really get to see those fangs too well, but it's still, they did make it look like she does have fangs with how small that area is, so that's cool. And then we have these little lines for her, making her look nervous. Last but not least, we have this more angrier, shouting face. I really love what they did with the teeth. I think maybe, it's actually not that bad, but this could be accurate. I think the gum paint right here is a little prominent over the teeth, the bottom teeth at least, but it actually looks fine at different angles. I just noticed it just now, and it's really not bad at all. I think it's supposed to be like that, actually. All that looks fantastic. I love how this face came out. Now for the weapons, moving on real quick. All the blood weapons are really just done in this one shade of red. It might have a little bit of some lighter highlights going towards like the handle and like the bottom of the hammer here, but this hammer is just molded mostly. Again, a little bit of paint here, but in this crimson red plastic right there. It's pretty shiny in some of the light. Then we have the blood daggers. We have two of these, looking really good, and there's not much else to say there. I don't think there really is any paint on these, but they definitely look like they did a good job with actually making it look like blades, and the way they molded it looks pretty good. And then, don't worry, I didn't forget the cat. I really love the blood hammer here. I love a lot of these black creases, just how it all looks. Almost looks like Venom symbiote. I just like how they did it. It looks fantastic. I don't love this large seam line going down here, unfortunately, to combine those pieces, because it's a little too distracting. But I can kind of forgive it. Yeah, it's whatever. I do like all... there's different like parts here, like small dots sculpted in there. Smaller lines, large, prominent lines. Fantastic. They have a little bit of like blood strands going down here. And then this handle's pretty thin. You could snap this, so be careful. And this is a pretty hollow piece, but I'm glad it is. So that way this figure's not too top heavy when she holds this. Last but not least, good old Meowie. Look at that. This is a bit of a weird hill to die on. It's actually not a hill to die on. But I like this Meowie more than how the Figma one looks, at least. That just looks like a sleeping generic cat. I don't know what it is. I just love how they did the face here. It's not generic looking to me. I don't know if it's super accurate to how it looks in the manga or anime. It's a cat, so it's really not that big of a deal to me, but I just love how they did the eyes, the like mid meow type face. I like that. I think that the off-white fur is a little bit plain. It's just mostly sculpted or molded in this plastic, but I do like the dark gray like fur parts, the pink in the ears too. A little bit of gray fur going on to the white, but it's not too bad. A little bit of white painted here too. And then you look down here, he is absolutely loafing. Actually, I don't know if it's a he or she, I forget. But loafing right here with the arms tucked in, and then you have a little bit of toe beads sculpted there. And I love how they did a little bit of the tail too. So I'm really digging on all of these accessories. Here is Power right here. This is the face that she came packaged with. This looks fantastic. There's not much to be said that I haven't already said with the other faces. This is very much Power. Let me see if I can find an image just straightforward of her from the anime. Something is a little bit off. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, the nose or like the size of the cheeks or the chin or something. Something is ever so slightly off, but because I can't put my finger on it, it's not going to really bug me all that much. It looks pretty accurate, especially, when you see her with those horns up there, as well as what's going on with her eyes, and then that smile with the separation of the white with the rest of the mouth looks fantastic. I do think there could be a little bit better paint in this front piece here for the alternate hair piece. Excuse me. Well, there's a little bit of like strawberry blonde, almost pinkish going on in some of the areas, like down here on the strands. That looks good, and then they attempted some of that up here. This just breaks up the sculpt a little too much, unfortunately. And then we do have a little bit there, but you see that separation of the plastic. There's not much of that pinkish going on right there until you get to like the front there. So I think it could be spread out a little bit more. Ever so slightly more prominent would have been nice. That's what it looks like on the side here. We have a lot of softer plastic strands like around here, and then these parts of the face. These could rip if you are not careful enough, but these are pretty soft plastic though. This might pop off a little easily. Looking at the paint going on up in here, it doesn't look like it's too bad. I think maybe the hair might be on there just a little bit on those horns, like the hair color, but all that looks fine. Yeah, I dig that. And then again, that's as long as that hair goes. The back of the hair looking really good, actually. I don't know what's going on here. This might be a bit of a speck, though. And then there's something going on here, which I think I might be able to get that out, but that also looks like some kind of speck. I don't love that. The design choice I was talking about is what they were doing with her jacket. And I like that it's, you know, messy, like how she's supposed to look. But when you pose her around, like if you want to do forward poses like this piece is rather difficult to move. So I feel like that's just gonna, it doesn't move at all actually. You have to rotate it maybe like this, or actually it swivels. Okay, so there's that. So you could maybe like okay. So that just popped out. So a lot of these arm systems have been doing it where the socket goes down lately, and then there's that. So let's see if I get that back in. I think it's in there. Yeah, so first of all, be careful with these arms, because the way I have, man, that is really tight. Oh, that's really tight. This can swivel. It's a bit of a mess, though. Just this piece getting in the way a lot. This can also swivel. It's on a little bit of a disc, but it just, unfortunately, it's really not their fault. It's because she's just a messy person, and her clothes aren't symmetrical to where they are, you know, attempting to make it, you know, look not symmetrical but also posable at the same time. And now I don't know what the hell is going on with some of the joints here. Lots of tightness in some areas that I don't love. But I like the wrinkles going on the arms. Those look fantastic. I think the elbows might be a little bit loose. That's one other problem I have, is that some parts are loose on this figure, but we'll talk about that with articulation in a little bit. I think this is actually a separate plastic piece, this cuff right here. The fists don't look bad, and the yeah, everything fits pretty good. I think what little piece of skin tone we have for that joint there, all that matches pretty well to me. One thing I also like, you know, the tie is fixed in here, unlike Genki, which is accurate, or you know, the Chainsaw Man we got a couple months ago. So that's not going to fall out. One thing I was concerned with, though, is, first of all, again, some scuffing right here. I don't love that. I haven't messed around with this too long. I don't think I've done anything like that yet. I mean, maybe I could have, but that scuffing's not great. This piece right here I thought was going to get in the way of articulation a lot. But this is a nice ball joint section that goes here. And then it actually, I have to move it around a little bit. But you can move it around. It does, you know, it does flow. So that's actually really sick. It's just that this will eventually get warped if you keep it like that. So be careful. We have, they designed different sections with cuts, sections with cuts, I should say. This is like a really hard plastic, and these are softer plastic pieces. So there's some really interesting stuff here, because they've combined this soft plastic piece with this hard plastic piece there. And it breaks up a little bit, but it actually gets hidden pretty well in some angles. And you can pose around a little bit. All that's ported in, if you see there. Nice wrinkles and pockets and some buttons as well. There's really not that much paint going on, unfortunately. Let's see if I can fix this back up. But the wrinkles, I forgot to mention the wrinkles up in here and also there were also really good. But again, that breaks, again, I've already made my spiel, breaks up the sculpt. I feel like either there's a little bit of dirt detail around the crotch area, or there's some paint splotches, because there's just a little bit of like some gray in the black there. I think I have a good number of paint defects on my particular figure, which is unfortunate. But everything else, like the wrinkles, all that looks good. 3.0 engineering system, similar to Genki a couple months ago. That's what the back looks like. Then we have this nice seam line going all the way down. Lots of wrinkles in the front here. A lot of these pants are a little bit like bridged or whatever. I don't really know what to say, but all that sticks out. That's what the inner thighs look like. And then we have a little bit of gray bleeding onto the skin tone, unfortunately. But the way that the cuffs are rolled up, they look really good. This, oh god, that's way too loose. Oh man, that sucks. We'll get to articulation again a little later. The shoes, the actual sculpting on here is really cool. I like them a lot. I love the colors on here with the pinkish on there and that white. And then the bottom of the treading looks really fantastic. Those laces are good too. That's what the back looks like. They even have some color on the inside. So besides some paint defects, unfortunately, and not their fault, but how they did this system, where it just breaks up the sculpt a little too much. Now that feels like, if that popped out, that might be a little too loose. I mean, all of the rest of it looks good. It's just, man, it could have worse QC, but the QC is starting to bug me just a tiny bit as time goes on. The articulation on this figure is really good. It's just that the hair might get in the way a little bit. We do have a dumbbell joint going on in here. So, and there's a little bit of an articulation going on into the torso from the neck. So you can go down that far. That face is starting to want to pop off. The good thing about this having a hinge, you can bend that back a little bit. That's as far back as it goes, and that's down because the body's going to get in the way of that. But bend that back, I guess. That's as far back as it can go, and actually it could be worse. It's not too bad. Swiveling, oh wow, that's tight. You can pivot a bit. Yeah, wow, that's really tight. You saw a little bit of how that ball joint system worked because I tugged it out, unfortunately. But you can't, okay, so that, yeah, that's starting to bug me. That was happening with Sasuke last review too. I don't love that that's happening. Butterfly joints though, arms can go all the way around, and the hinging is really tight on this. And then the swiveling up here is also really tight at that section. The shirt, then this is a separate piece. This is a separate piece too. So there's a lot of swiveling going on, but some of it's getting really messy. We do have upper arm swivel again, like I said. Double jointed elbows. Damn it. All right, we do also have the cuff gets the way, but we have standard wrist articulation. You guys know how the range of motion with that. We do also have a ball jointed waist. Wow, this looks really weird. The back's not great. The forward, actually, not too bad. The side to side could be better, but the swiveling is fine, and the swiveling, same thing. It's actually way better at the hips here when it comes to all that. But that range of motion combined is forward really good. Could be better going back. Legs go out like this, and then they can go back a little bit, but again, this hard plastic piece really gets in the way of the... actually, they won't go back at all no matter what. Splits, upper thigh swivel there, double jointed knees. We do have swivel here at the ankle. Down is really, actually could be a little bit better. Up could be a tiny bit better, but still pretty good with how this is engineered. Ankle rockers could also be a little bit better, but not too bad. And then we do have toe hinge. Quick measurements before size comparisons. Whether you want to include the horns or not, you're getting really close to like 14 centimeters, 14 and a half with this figure. Then you also have it at 5.5 inches because of that. So as you see, we have a bunch of different SH Figuarts figures. First of all, Chainsaw Man right next to her on the right. I believe those exact sizings there are accurate. That looks really good with each other. Sasuke is a little bit shorter, if not just as tall as Power here. Since these, are different anime properties, I don't expect them to entirely fit with each other, but if you do want to mix and match properties with SH Figuarts stuff and toy photos, you can fudge it a little bit. Since Jujutsu Kaisen is coming back, I do have the far ends, Nobara and Gojo, just for some quick comparisons there. Overall, I am pretty satisfied with this figure, but there are some things that could be better with it. Not much, honestly. It's just with my particular figure, I do have some minor paint splashes that still, for the price, like 65, 70 bucks, should not be there. The arm socket keeps popping out a little too much. It can go back in just as easily, but that's still pretty concerning how much it wants to pop out. And the bottom section of the left double jointed knee is really loose. This figure can still keep some poses that I want to put her in, but I don't know how long with how loose that piece is, so that is really bothersome. Design choices that Tamashii Nations did here, while not entirely their fault, kind of hinder the figure a little bit. Mostly how undone her sleeves are can get in the way a little bit, and that very back piece, like center back piece of the hard plastic for the coat, will get in the way just a little bit with some of the leg articulation poses. Other than that, this figure is really great. The overall sculpting is really sick. It just is undeniably power. All those faces, those different hands, the weapons, and Meowie, all that really come together very nicely to make a great power figure. And I think that she is done extremely well, even with some of the minor issues I had with it. Again, it's a little bit expensive, but I do think it is worth it. Or, you know, maybe you're more inclined to get the Figma one. We'll find out in a couple months if that is just as good, if not better than this one here. Until then, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.